Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Alli Kerr.
And I'm Shawna Kaminski. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey. Hey, today we are going to talk about fear and how fear sometimes holds us back, whether that be in our health journey, fitness, professional, starting dating again, any kind of, situation where we might be letting fear hold us back. And I know that while it might not seem like, Alli, you have any fears now because you do so many amazing things and you present as so confident with your public self. Privately, we've talked about this, and fear has been a big part of your life. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, I'm a big chicken, Shawna. Basically,
I don't believe it.
I'm a huge chicken. I would say and we've talked about me dealing with Crohn's disease, and I think that actually has been one of the things that really helped me come out of, because it helped me to deal with some of those fears. But I would say the first 25 to 30 years of my life, I spent not doing things because of fear. So I've wasted a lot of life because of my fears. And one of the reasons I want to talk about this is I definitely don't want others to do the same. And I work with ladies that I see that they, maybe they're in their 40s, maybe they're in their 50s, maybe they're 60s, 70s, and they're still letting fear hold them back. And so, I want to share about that and just kind of what I've seen and learned for myself and others, so that maybe others can get out of some of our fears and do all the things that we want to do.
So let's back up a bit and, go back a few years to what made you decide, hey, I'm not going to let fear hold me back? Like, what did you do? What changed?
Doing something that was really scary and realizing that I survived. I think every time you do that, it unleashes this like new door that you're like, oh, well, if I did that and I overcame that and I didn't die and nothing crazy happened, well, maybe I could go into this door, and then you go into that door, and then you're like, oh, every time I've taken a step to overcome a fear, it has opened new doors, and I've gotten more confidence. When you overcome a fear, it builds confidence. At least for me, that's been my experience. And so then it gives me the confidence to take on the next thing and the next thing.
So it's kind of like building a muscle.
Yeah.
Like it's just like more reps, more strength.
Yes.
And sorry.
I said putting in the reps for sure.
Yeah. And like maybe you can take us back to, if you can remember, what one of the first scary things was, because I want to encourage people to think, if you're scared of heights, you don't have to start with like jumping out of a plane.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go to the end of like, this is my biggest fear. Like maybe you could start small. Did you start small and build on it? Do you remember what you did?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about small, just the thing that's standing out to me that was just one of the scariest things that I've ever done was starting my own business. That's one of those things that I wanted to do well before I actually took action to do it. But I was so afraid to do it. All the what ifs. And that's one of the things that can really slow us down or hold us back, or the what ifs. Well, what if I crash and burn? Well, what if it's not successful? What if nobody's interested in buying what I'm selling? And all those what ifs. I spend so much time in my mind battling what ifs. And starting when I will say that my husband and I used to go on walks. We would walk in our neighborhood in the evenings. We have a little dog that we would take for walks, and we would go on these walks, and every walk I would talk. I know he was so sick of hearing about it, but I would talk about wanting to start my own business, wanting to do something different, but then I would talk about all my fears as well. So it was like, I want to do this, but this is why I can't. And so that would be our conversation. And I know he had to be just like, just do it already. I'm sure he was just like, what? I'm sure he's a very patient fellow, obviously, to listen to all that, because it was just it was like the same conversation on repeat, literally on over and over and over and over again, because I was not taking action. I was just talking about it. I was just what if in it, but I wasn't actually doing the thing to get anywhere.
Well, what I do know, and I mean, two things kind of come out of that, just knowing you from like our history together, is number one, having support and an ear. And what I like about Robbie is while he listened, he didn't agree. He let you vent, but he didn't pitch the tent of I can't with you. He
Right.
just gave you space to explore that. And then so number one, having support probably was very helpful, with, an ear that was sympathetic well, I don't know if sympathetic is the right word, but, was a good listener, but didn't agree with all the failures that were gonna be forthcoming. But then I know you got a coach, like you got help to run that business, like, because that's how we met.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah,
it was
that was
further
later.
along in the
Yeah,
process,
sure. Yeah.
for business building,
Oh
you
my gosh.
didn't go it alone.
Exactly. Yes. And I originally had a business partner as well. And so that was also because of my fear of going it alone. That gave me the extra courage that I wasn't alone. And so, that can, that was initially, and then it was just me after that. And then I hired a coach and got
Yeah.
help and those things. So yes, one of the things I tell clients all the time is I'm a client as well. Just because I'm a trainer, I believe in hiring a coach, having support, having a coach. And I also had a coach before you and I met, a different coach that actually helped us get our business set up. And I actually met with him a few weeks ago. So, 14, 15 years into my business, I still meet with it. He's a different type of coach, but definitely a coach that has been with me on this whole journey. And that has been a huge part of getting past all the fears and taking action. Because at some point you have to either decide you're just going to keep talking about it and worrying about it and wondering what if, or you have to actually do the thing and jump in.
So, I mean, you did the thing, you jumped in, you've experienced a ton of success. And now let's put your coaching hat on, Alli, because
Okay.
both of us,
Okay.
we are the trainee, because we've both had business coaches and fitness coaches of all sorts. So we've been on either end of the spectrum. And now let's talk about some of the successes or some of the traits that our most successful clients display to reach their goal, whatever that goal is. So if you were to pick something, what would you say is like one of the most important traits to either weight loss or better fitness, better health, healthier aging?
One is being ready to take action, being ready, and then following. So if you hire a coach, or you have to actually follow. And you and I both have dealt with that. And that's a big thing. One of my clients that comes to mind, more recent, that's lost over 100 pounds during COVID, during the whole COVID shutdown.
Wow.
And so she's been with me for several years now. But when she came to me, she had gone to the doctor, and the doctor, I mean, she was having headaches every single day, like massive headaches. Her blood pressure was through the roof. And the doctor literally said, like, sitting here right now, your blood pressure is stroke level. Like me and you could just be sitting here and you can have, like, you are literally a ticking time bomb. And, we hope that it doesn't take that kind of a conversation or that kind of a scare. But a lot of times you and I know this, working with health, a lot of times dealing with our health, it does take that kind of a scare for us to be ready. And so, anything we can do to get ready before that, I think is a worthy thing. But whatever it is, the thing that client said to me when she came in that I knew I just knew that this person was ready because she'd had this huge scare, and how the impact of that scare, because people can have that same scare, but it may not impact them the same way.
Yeah.
They may not still be ready to actually take action. But she said to me, you tell me what to do and I will do it. And
Yeah.
that's a different conversation than you may have with other clients.
Yeah.
And when she said that, like, and she meant it and she did it. And
Yeah.
so that every time she did not get ahead of me and try to tell me what she needed to do, what her next
Yeah.
step needed to be. She said, okay, I did this. Now tell me what to do. Okay, I do that. Okay, now tell me what to do. It's really that following.
Trusting the process.
Mhm.
Because what's so frustrating, I find, and I'm sure you do as well, is that people come for help,
Yep.
but then they only listen to half of what you're saying, because they're up. And it's not that you and I know it all about everything, but honestly, if a client hasn't had success and they're coming to us,
Yeah.
then you have to trust what your coach is saying.
Trust is so hard when you're living in fear or confusion, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that trust part. And so she trusted me, and this was a lady that just met me, but she had also tried it all. She tried all the diets, all the pills, the potions, and all the things. And so this was like a last resort kind of in her mind. Like, so I think she was in a place where she didn't have anything to lose by trusting me in her mind. But yeah, and that is the frustration when, with working with clients, that kind of the opposite of the traits that you see where people struggle to be successful, are those clients that second guess everything that you all the the help that you give them, or they want to do it their way, when it's like, well, if your way was working so well, then keep doing that. You don't need my help. But we that same boat when I've been on the receiving end of coaching. I have that same boat where I want to second guess the coach, and that doesn't work out so well.
Well, and part of it is just being patient, and especially where weight loss or fitness results, health improvements come, it doesn't happen overnight. And so it is trusting the process and being patient with it.
Doing the reps, putting in the reps, whatever that is.
Yes. And knowing that like if you settle in and know that it's going to take longer and it might be harder than you think, but just to try to enjoy the process as much as possible. And if your goal is to lose a specific amount of weight, maybe don't focus on the scale. While that is going to be important, we need to be quantifying that. Let's look for other ways that we're feeling good and quantifying non-scale victories. Sorry, the garbage truck. My window's open because it's hot. Yeah, but quantifying, the non-scale victories, because success happens when we're feeling good. And, that's what keeps us motivated. And when we're beating ourselves up because, the scale didn't move this week or this day, it's like, well, there's nothing more demotivating than that.
Yeah, you have to do, like, when things that have helped me get over my fears, having some success. There's nothing more motivating than having success, and you have to trust enough in the process to get going and do the things that you need to do to get the success. And then once you start seeing, oh my gosh, this actually does work, then it becomes easier. The hardest part can be for people to take the plunge, that first plunge. And that is where that taking that imperfect action comes into play, because as gals, and I know for me, because part of my fear and my not doing things was fear of failure and fear that it wasn't perfect. Like I wanted to wait.
Oh yeah.
Wait till I get it perfect before I do it. Wait till I've got it all figured out before I do it.
Yeah.
And so that is a huge roadblock for us as gals in reaching our goals, is waiting for perfection. Like and I know guys do this too, but I definitely working with gals, I definitely see this, how waiting for perfection paralyzes us. And we just don't do it because it's not going to be perfect. So I'm just not going to do it at all.
Yeah, just having that all or nothing attitude when it really is an all or something. And
Yeah.
knowing that, especially where health improvements to, like become healthier, to lose weight, to get more fit, all or something is a much better way to look at things than all or nothing. Because if you're waiting for perfection, say for your nutrition, or you're waiting for the perfect time when you're going to have this, not going to have any interruptions, it's never going to happen. If you're waiting for time on your schedule to open up, it'll never happen. You have to make time for it. And sometimes maybe a 10-minute workout is all you have time for. But hey, if you did that 10-minute workout consistently over time, that's going to change things for you rather than waiting for you to have like an hour of time to open up, because you're probably going to be dead when that time opens up. Right? I don't know if that's been your experience.
Yeah, yes. And one of the things that I've noticed that is I won't say like a high, but when you do the thing, a little bit of what, even it's a baby step and you do it, like you feel so good. You just, you feel so accomplished. And versus when you don't, when you let fear paralyze you, that is the worst feeling in the world. That is just miserable and not something that I wish on anyone. Because we're not moving, and or we're not moving forward. Honestly, we're probably moving backwards, because if we're just at a standstill, had I just continued doing those walks while I'm with my husband having this cup, we might have walked our legs off if I hadn't finally. I think he had a huge sense of relief too when I finally was like, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
We had of course we had a plan, we had, okay, if this happened, we had some kind of safety nets, but that's okay. That's okay. At some point though, having, same thing with, you talked about the ninja and those things. I love obstacles because they make you sort through, I look at each obstacle and I do ninja, and, like usually the first time I do a new obstacle, I'm horrible at it and I fail miserably and I crash and burn. But of course I have safety nets, I have mats under me, and I have those safety nets to catch me when I fall. And then I get up and I dust myself off and I'm like, okay, I need more swing in my hips, or I need more strength here to get from here to here on this obstacle. And every obstacle is different, and you have to have different skills, and you have to put in the work to get those skills so that you can accomplish that obstacle. And then it seems easy once you finally do the work and you break it down into those baby steps. Then you're able to do it, and you're like, and you look, and those are the videos people post, and it just looks easy. Like
it's like, look at what she's doing. But I know sometimes you post your fails as well, because I think you learn a lot from those fails.
Learn so much from the fails. That's where you really do learn. That is where you learn, are the fails. Yes.
And so fearing the failure is like, okay, it's fair, but you got to do it anyway, because you often learn more from the failure. And I really like the analogy of your ninja activities to growth in any aspect of life. Because, you start off low to the ground with a small obstacle. You don't start at the highest level.
Right.
You build up it's like, you build up your skills and confidence before you get to those higher levels. So I think that's really important as well. So any other tips that you might have to, really get the momentum going of how to get someone like just taking that first step? I have never had the garbage truck take this long. I do apologize.
Hey, we know that you're going to have a trash-free environment. So
oh my gosh.
That's amazing. Yeah. So tips, you said tips to get going, basically.
Take that first step.
Yeah. Do it scared, because I'm not going to say that you're not going to be scared, and I'm not going to lie and be like, oh yeah, just, like the best things. And then there's just such that celebration when you do it scared, and have your safety, have your mats in place before you go swinging and doing that ninja obstacle. Don't do it over the hard ground or something, like have the safety net. And once you have your safety nets though, just go, just do it anyway.
Yeah. And I have this wonderful client that never learned how to ride a bike. And
Yeah.
so her goal is to learn how to ride a bike. So I told her, go out in the garage and just look at the bike day one. She
Yeah.
is very afraid. And
Right.
I said, okay, day two, now you're just going to go sit on you're going to put your helmet on. You're going to go sit on the bike.
Yep.
You're going to visualize yourself riding the bike. Okay. Day three, you're going to take the bike out of the garage. You're just going to walk it onto the driveway. Like
Yep.
just taking these baby steps so that you're building time in your schedule. Like you don't have to go do the Tour de France today. Like
That's
even just sitting on your bike and imagining pedaling, and then she's going to get her son to come out and help her with it. So it's just like, don't expect too much too soon, but you got to do something scared. And every time you get close to that bike, you maybe won't want to feel like you're going to throw up, and you might at first, and then you're going to get over that. So take those baby steps.
And I would also add to that, get a coach, because I mean, I certainly was not just going out doing ninja stuff without guidance, and
Yeah.
knowing having someone that knows better than me has always helped me in any kind of quest that I want to conquer. I mean, when I do aerial silks, I have a coach. Ninja, I've had a coach. Like, I want someone who knows more than me about this that can
Yeah.
help me. And they are also they're not gonna let me start at level 10. They're gonna start me at, okay, you've got to get these foundational things before you can do all the cool stuff, so that's really important.
So let's talk about getting a coach. Like, what is the criteria you would say in whatever field our listeners are looking for? What are the things that they should be looking for in a coach?
I look for someone who's at the top of their game, and that whatever it
Doing
is,
the thing you want to do.
I want the best. I don't want, I want to get someone who has boatloads of experience, that has a proven track record, that they've worked with others and they've been able to take them to a higher level and
Yeah.
to the level that I want to get to. And so, yeah, I don't, I want to hire, I want to be with someone who, and I will say this as us, as ladies that are not in our 20s, I also want someone who understands that I'm not in my 20s. If it's physical activity,
Yeah.
because I've worked with, and that's not to say that there's, not that someone who's at a younger age would not be able to coach, because I've had success with different age coaches, but it's just making sure that they do understand that I'm not
Yeah.
20 years old and my body is in a different place, and
Yeah.
that my goals may be different, and just so somebody that also is the right fit for me where I'm at.
Yeah.
Matches that has a good that's not going to push me to do things that don't make sense for me and where I'm at, and allow me to go at my pace. Yeah.
Yeah, you really have to have someone that you resonate with. But I'm the same, is looking for someone with a track record that not only just says they can take you there, but has proof that they've taken others to wherever you want to go. Because, and I'm thinking particularly of social media coaches, not to trash anybody, but some people might have a great physique, but having a great physique doesn't mean that they can reproduce that in a menopausal woman or someone in their 60s or 70s.
When it comes to weight loss, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's just one example of that. So, I mean, I think that just taking that step of, really trying to figure out, well, what is it I want? Narrowing it down to like,
Yeah.
what do I want to get out of this? And
Mhm.
then taking action to maybe overcome the fear of what's holding you back. Because sometimes it's also looking at like, it's important to look at, what am I missing out on?
Yeah.
I do this visualization technique with some people where I've talked about, imagine yourself like in your 80s. What do you see yourself doing? And can you do some of those, if you say, okay, well, I want to be traveling when I'm older, but that might mean lifting your suitcase up into an overhead bin.
Yeah.
But we're going to lose some strength. And if you can't lift 40 pounds overhead now, like how are you going to lift 20 pounds overhead when you're 70? Like, are you doing the things now that's going to support the things you want to do later? And if you're not, what's holding you back now?
Yes, just doing little things. So
Yeah, seeing a bigger picture. So sometimes just taking a look at that bigger picture and not waiting for that horrible health report that you're getting for the doctor that says, hey, you're a ticking time bomb. Yeah. So my wish for our listeners is to think about, is fear holding me back? And then, you know, taking some kind of action to overcome that fear. Over to you, Alli. What's your wish for today?
Yeah, just do the thing. Go do it. Take a baby step, even if it's a baby step, or take a big step, but get help and be safe and go for it. That's my wish for you, is that you go get your dreams. Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Alli, on Instagram at Alli Kerr Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shawna, on Instagram at Shawna Kaminski. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.